On April 19th, 2017, Aaron Hernandez was found hanging in his jail cell, awaiting trial of the murder of one of his best friends. After his death, brain scans showed that he had one of the worst cases of CTE the NFL has ever seen. According to the Trustees of Indiana University 2024 article titled, "What Chronic Traumatic Encephalopathy, or CTE, is a progressive degenerative disease affecting people who have suffered repeated concussions and traumatic brain injuries." Today I will be talking about how you get CTE, how it affects people, and what the NFL does to help prevent CTE. CTE is a common brain disease in the NFL, first discovered in 2001, that affected many players before then. According to the Mayo Clinic's 2024 article, Chronic Traumatic Encephalopathy, CTE is caused by repeated blows to the head, causing the death of brain cells. NFL linebackers see about 40 to 50 hits a game, and with about 25% of those hits being to the head. So with the NFL season being at least 16 weeks long, if they don't go into the playoffs, you're talking about a 4-year career to the average NFL player. And the average NFL linebacker is seeing well over 600 hits, major hits, to the head. After hearing those statistics, you're probably not surprised to hear that 92% of NFL players suffer from CTE. Granted, many of those cases are not as severe as, like, some other players don't see as much contact as others, or some players don't play as long, things such as that. But now you might be thinking to yourself, how does this actually affect the brain function? You may have heard of the former NFL superstar Mike Webster, also known as Iron Mike. He was a center for the Steelers back in the 70s. He snapped for Terry Bradshaw, who you also might know. He was the first discovered case of CTE after his death from a major heart attack at the age of 50. In the later parts of his life, he had gone what people might say insane. He divorced his wife, lost all of his money, lost his memory, began sleeping out of his car because he couldn't find his way home some nights. A truly sad story. According to the National Library of Medicine 2011 article titled "Long-Term Consequences of Repetitive Brain Trauma," CTE results in progressive decline of memory and cognition, as well as depression, suicidal behavior, poor impulse control, aggressiveness, Parkinson's, and eventually dementia. Another legend you might know is Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez played for the Patriots and was one of the greater tight ends the league has ever seen. After playing over 13 years of football in his life, including college, high school, and leagues before then, Aaron Hernandez was accused of the murder of one of his best friends, Odin Lloyd, in his last years of the NFL. And sadly, as I stated before, in 2017, he was found hanging in his jail cell awaiting his trial. This is one of the most awful cases the NFL has ever seen, and hopefully we never see another one of these, because the NFL has been doing a lot of work to prevent CTE, such as, for starters, the helmets. See, when the NFL first started, they were wearing a lot of helmets like these, and obviously they made progressions as Mike Webster and Aaron Hernandez both did not wear these types of helmets. But the NFL has really been working on air pockets in the helmets and scanners and sensors inside to help use game film to, make the game safer. Last season, the NFL changed the rules on the kickoff, which decreased concussions by 60%. The new rule is that when the kicker proceeds to kick the football, no one on the kicking team is allowed to move until the football is kicked off and the player has caught it. This allows a lot less hits running at full speed and decreased concussion rates by 60% on kickoff alone. In 2017, they implemented the targeting rule, meaning they outlawed any hits in which a player leads with the crown of their helmet where the frontal cortex is located. This is where most of the major brain traumas come from in the NFL, as this is the most important part of your head. A lot of younger players were never taught to, move your head off to the side when you tackle, and so a lot of these players that we saw with CTE were always hitting or leading with the crown of their helmet. But the NFL is really working with their players, and especially the defensive side of things, to learn to move their head in such a way that they're not facing so much brain trauma during a game. In 2011, the NFL's concussion protocol was implemented after Colt McCoy returned to a game after not being tested for concussion at all. Now, the concussion protocol is pretty simple. A licensed professional will run a few tests, such as the sight test, say your ABCs backwards, what's your name, what's the date, can you guess what time it is, things such as that, so that someone might know a baseline to if a person may not be all there in the brain or if they are. This is just an easy way to tell if a player can return back to the game or if they need to be taken to the medical tent and further examined. Finally, this season the NFL adopted the hip drop tackle rule, meaning no player is to swing a player to the ground, because this might result in the slamming of the head to the ground. So the rule is basically that a defensive player can't grab the offensive player around the hip and swing them to the ground, because this causes a lot of whipping of the neck as they hit the turf, and this has also been seen to cause a lot of brain trauma. To summarize, even though CTE is awful, an awful thing that the NFL has seen, they're doing a lot to work with it, and although CTE can be very progressive and aggressive, there are support groups available for those that suffer from this disease, and it is worth mentioning that those with CTE are found to not have with CTE are found to not have it post-mortem. Thank you.